The Disney company is reeling after a bombshell article out of the New York Post that says Disney World is facing claims of a dangerous black mold infestation in one of its most beloved attractions. Their quote, "The magic is lost. Is it safe for you to breathe in the Magic Kingdom anymore?" We'll talk about it today on That Park Place. Guys, this comes to us from, as we said, the New York Post. So meaning like this story has now gone full on mainstream with a major publication actually, magnifying it. Let's see what they have to say here. Walt Disney World has reportedly removed black mold from the It's a Small World ride after thousands of guests may have been exposed, according to a new report. One fan posted to social media claiming that there was once black mold on one of the gondola animatronics in the Italy section of the beloved ride in the Magic Kingdom, and it appears to be finally scrubbed clean. Now, I know that gondola section because I always point out the Italians. So it says they finally did it. Disney has cleaned the thick black mold line in this little gondola on It's a Small World, the guest shared on X in a viral post that has garnered more than 653,100 views. That's a lot of views for, thinking about mold. They shared in the thread an undated photo of an apparent line of mold on the gondola, noting that it was much worse recently before they cleaned it. It's unclear whether the photo was taken, when the photo was taken, or for how long the substance was there, but other riders share that they have been waiting for it to be cleaned too. "You don't know how much that line bothered me," someone replied. Another wrote, "Just ruining our childhoods more and more," to which the original poster replied, "Yep, the magic is lost." Walt Disney World has not publicly acknowledged the black mold situation, but the post has reached out to Disney for comment. So here is the post right here. And you can see there is no black mold line on that gondola. But I'm not going to play that because that song is going to get us demonetized real fast.
Oh, yeah.
If we go over here to the actual post, I want to see if they can actually find the black mold line. So you guys should be able to see this now. They said it was down here in the... Okay, yep. So there it is. Here's a photo online. It was much worse recently, they said. You see that line right there of what appears to be black mold on that gondola, guys. That is not good. And how much more of this attraction is this mold present on? That's a big question there. Vash, yeah. You normally wouldn't think of air quality as a thing that would be dangerous at Disney.
I actually disagree with that just a little bit there.
Go ahead.
Normally, yes, I agree with you, Marvin. You would think air quality might not be a concern at Disney, but there have been cases, at least at Disneyland, of Legionnaire's disease, which is most unfortunate right there. I believe it's happened on maybe 2 or 3 occasions that I can recall off the top of my head. But Legionnaire's disease is not something to be trifled with for sure. Usually that comes from bad maintenance when it comes to Disney's cooling towers. Not so good right there. When it comes to something like this, I mean, there have been posts by, I believe, Walt Disney World News Today. Previously, this is going way back. I want to say 5 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, in which they had like a water line of calcium deposit and buildup and dirt and so forth alongside the edges of the It's a Small World boats. As they made their way around the waterway, they took some pictures, and then weeks later, those were actually cleaned up. Very interesting. So,
I mean, do you remember when,
please,
like we used to have like Disney's cleanliness standards were once like the standard bearer in the industry. Like it was, cleaner than Disney. They, trash was picked right up. Attractions were scrubbed clean, paint never chipped, nothing ever faded. Disney was always on top of that. In recent years, though, it seems that those standards have seriously fallen. I remember walking into Epcot at around like 11 o'clock one morning, and one of the garbage cans in the parking lot was overflowing with trash. I mean, trash was spilling out of it and falling onto the ground. When I left, like maybe 3 or 4 hours later, it was worse.
It's really appalling, and I know what's going on because I just actually got a report from a good friend, Theme Park Wizard. He went to recently Florida and was able to see Universal and Disney, and he was relaying to me, along with his wife, actually, that whenever they would go into a bathroom at Disney, it was horrendous versus Universal, very, very clean. I told him, look, they've been having issues with custodial, getting enough cast members in order to fill those roles. So what happens when they can't? Well, those cycles of how frequently those are cleaned by custodial cast members just gets longer and longer and longer. And sometimes you just end up, right in the middle of that, and that's nowhere to be to be when that actually happens.
Right.
I won't go into it here. Maybe I'll go into it on the next show because it take way too long to explain. But there have been consulting firms in Disney's past that have given them advice about reducing maintenance, about reducing cleanliness, and so forth, in order to widen margins and so forth. I hope that Disney isn't doing that again. But over the last 5 years or so, by the way, the Josh Dumaro era, we have been seeing this on a number of occasions. You would expect that the social media era would be, you'd be in high alert. It's not the case with Disney currently.
I just wanted to point out that Toy Story Land is still fairly new, and I think it came out in 2018, 2018, and there are already sightings of mold on the walls in the attractions of Toy Story Land, and I think it's very disturbing at the fact that we have all this construction and refurbishments going on other attractions, but yet this fairly new land is already experiencing mold on the walls on their the walls that have like the painting of Woody or whatnot and the various characters from the film. I don't think that's acceptable. This is not okay.
There was a lot of moisture in the air in Central Florida, obviously, and moisture is what leads to mold. But you never used to see mold on things at Disney, and it has always existed in Central Florida, which has always had a lot of moisture in the air. So, Erika, where is the disconnect here? Why is it that we did not see mold in the past, and now we're seeing mold popping up all over the place?
Old Floridian here, born and raised in Florida. Is it really mold or is it mildew? Not that it matters. It's still bad show in terms of appearance, and that's harkening back to old Disney standards. That aside, I'm wondering if maybe it was kind of there at some point always, we just missed it because we weren't in the social media era until in the last decade, and now it's just more pronounced. Because to your point, Marvin, it's just a Florida thing. Then again, growing up there, you were just kind of so used to it. You didn't really notice it. And I mean, as a kid, I wasn't looking for it either. I was too busy trying to figure out where Cinderella was or Mickey Mouse, All that aside, though, Disney, we are in the information era, social media era, and Disney's all about that good show. And all we're doing is just highlighting to them, you need to stay more on top of it if you're going to continue the slogan of being the Disney difference when it comes to industry standards. So there's really no excuse, regardless of how common or not commonplace it is, in Florida,
I do. I definitely do. So, Vash, do you see a light at the end of the tunnel here? Do you think that maybe now, with the fact that they just scrubbed this clean, maybe they are starting to take this more seriously? Maybe the Josh, you'd think the Josh Dumaro era of CEO, but Josh Dumaro has been the head of the parks all this time, and this is when the mold has all been appearing. So once again, it is a thing of people being like, well, Josh Dumaro is going to come in and clean it all up. Well, Josh Dumaro had the opportunity to clean this all up for a very long time and didn't. Right.
Josh Dumaro's had the opportunity to really invest in Disney's maintenance programs, really invest in cast members in order to ensure that they have enough crew on hand. They could have reimagined their maintenance schedules in order to keep things like this from happening, especially with water-based attractions right there. Water-based attractions require a plethora of maintenance. This is actually why Splash Mountain, for example, was actually built out of concrete in order to prevent maybe not issues like black mold, but certainly like water damage, wood rot, and so forth. with these classic attractions like It's a Small World and Pirates of the Caribbean and those of that ilk, you have to treat them differently. You do have to maintain them to a very, very high degree, especially keeping with Disney's standards and so forth. But to be safe, and yet we haven't been seeing that. It's almost been like whack-a-mole, Marvin, in which things are brought to Disney's attention and then they actually do something about it. But the preventative maintenance seems to have eroded, and it's heartbreaking to see, because we've been here before and we've seen devastating consequences from it.
Absolutely, guys. Well, we will see going forward as eagle-eyed guests on social media try to spot those black spots all over Walt Disney World. And you ask the question of yourself, is it safe to take a deep breath before going down the drop on Tiana's Bayou adventure?
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.